Hey, good morning, Raj. How's it going, buddy? Is gold turning bullish? That's a good question. It looks bullish this morning so far. However, it was very bearish yesterday. This is the opening of the US session, and it just went down, 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 went sideways a little bit, and then continued down all throughout the session. Just huge, massive drop from 51.86 down to 5054, $130 drop, 1,300 pips. And it's bearish on the H4 chart and neutral on the day chart, according to the indicators I have on those charts, the moving averages. But it looks like it's making a good retracement, quite a pullback we're seeing so far today. One more minute on this first 15-minute candle. This is the opening here of the Singapore and Shanghai market, and continuing that move up from Tokyo. Yeah, mixed signals. Don't know, long term, what's it going to do. The market is in a lot of uncertainty right now, and the market sentiment globally is in a lot of uncertainty. The whole world is in a lot of uncertainty right now. What's going on? The world's gone crazy. The Middle East is so unstable right now. Nobody knows what's going to happen, and that has such a big impact on what we're watching, commodities. And I'm getting a break now, but it just respected this trend line here. Now it's looks like, well, we just wait and see. It's just the start of the second 15-minute candle there. But you look at the price of oil, it was about 93, $94 yesterday, and it's still 93, $94, even though there was a lot of very negative news about the oil situation in the Middle East, the Strait of Hormuz and all that's going on there. I would have thought that the price of oil would continue to rise, but it hasn't. So much uncertainty in the markets right now. And earlier this week, we had the CPI data came out, and that was uh, nothing burger, no impact at all. But we know why. That was because the data that came out this week was from February, and that was before the war started. So that wouldn't have much of an influence. There was no impact at all, in fact, from the release of that CPI data. But now, next month, when the CPI data comes out, it could show that inflation is rising and we have possibly continued higher interest rates on the US dollar, and that's bad for gold. But we have to wait and see. I had a couple of losing trades yesterday. Show you the yesterday's chart. Over here was this was the first candle that came out, and it had a rejection at this level here, so I went short, and then I got stopped out because it came down, it rejected this, came down, did the doji candle, and then moved up for the next hour. And then I did not watch the second hour. Then it went sideways, continued up until the London session, which starts right here. Then it just went sideways until the US session. And over here, I saw this. This was the opening of, well, this was just after the opening of New York. And I saw this rejection here, so I went long. And then it went sideways and dropped like a brick, sank like a sinking ship. So I got stopped out on that one too. Two losing trades yesterday. Lost 1% of my account. That's my limit. I don't like to lose more than that in one day. Not much momentum with the opening of Singapore and Shanghai, not much yet. It's moved up quite a bit from 5054 to 5116. 5054, yeah, that's about a $60 move, 600 pips already. So maybe it will just consolidate at this level we're seeing now and then start to come back down. It wouldn't surprise me to see lower prices. The market sentiment, they kind of look towards the future about how it's going to be in the future. And we are expecting higher inflation and continue holding of high interest high interest rates on the US dollar, and that's not good for gold. DXY almost at 100. The dollar continuing to hold its strength that it's shown with the war in the Middle East. Don't know what the Dow did. Yeah, the Dow Jones was mostly bearish. Tried to make a move up, but then fell down during the New York session. And the S&P 500 continuing down. The world has gone topsy-turvy. I might not stick around. You were on the second long. On the long during the second long, which second long? During the New York session last night? I don't think so. You don't stay up that late. You were on that second long. Yesterday, you mean? Over in here? Sean was here yesterday, and he said he had a long trade, but I don't know if he held on to if he got out up in here, he was okay, but I think he might have got stopped out. Okay, so you were in here in this second long. Okay, yeah, London opened right there, and then went sideways, and then you said you was on it, so hopefully you got out. Otherwise, you would have got stopped out for sure. Yeah, that was a good one there. Started at about kind of pre-Europe, just before this is Europe opening, and then we got London over here. London's right there, that gravestone doji. So yeah, that was a good move up there for a couple of hours. Excellent. That would have been early evening for you, around 7 p.m. or so. There's two in here now plus me. They come in and go out, come in and go out, and not many people comment. Sometimes we'll get along 7 or 8. Now there's one dropped out. Buyers trying to step in here. Yeah. Yesterday, Sean was the only one that was doing any commenting. We had a good chat in yesterday's session. Haven't seen Howard for a few days. Haven't seen you for a few days. Buyers trying to step in. Yeah. Not much momentum just yet. I got another 5 minutes on this candle. If you just jumped in to join us here on this live gold trading, let me know where you're watching from. Feel free to comment, ask questions. Some people come in, have a look, and then go back out. Overall, during one day, the view is pretty good, 450 views. People come in and watch the recording, I guess. Sometimes there's just not much going on. So I can imagine if you tuned in here and it's very boring. This is the trend line strategy. For those of you that don't follow me, this upward trend line here, if it breaks below that and closes below that, then I will go short. And this downward trend line, if it breaks above that and closes above that, then I will go long. And I'll put the stop loss opposite whichever trade I take, above or below the trend line. And these trend lines are top to bottom analysis from the monthly to weekly, daily, the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 15 minute. They go back as far as the history of gold goes on Tradingview. Trading now at 51.18. Now getting a little bit of a move. Not much so. If you look at the 5-minute chart, we've been sideways for 25 minutes. No progress. On the 1-hour chart, we have a small green candle. Well, if the buyers are trying, they're not trying very hard. Very slowly. By the way, today is Friday the 13th. I don't know if anybody watching is superstitious or not. If you're superstitious, then you probably don't want to trade today. $51.19. 51.18. Just poked its head above that trend line and then came back down. Oh, now we've got the next candle starting. I want to adjust my trend line, I think. That candle is finished. The bottom of the hour, that's like right now. So we're starting the next candle. Next week, VIX expire and OPEX option expires. Okay. And next week on the news is quite volatile. Let's have a look here at the forexfactory.com right quick. See if I've got that on, see if that screen will come on without, yeah, there we go. Okay. Forexfactory.com. We've got a little bit on the pound today, 1 hour before London opens. And then tonight, in the 1 hour before Wall Street, we've got the unemployment data on the Canadian economy. And then we have some manufacturing data on the US economy, uh, 30 minutes after Wall Street opens. But next week, whoa, next week, look out. Next week, yeah, hello. Got the interest rate on the Australian dollar, got the interest rate on the Canadian dollar, and then the FOMC. That's the interest rate on the US economy. So a big, big, exciting week. And then also get down here. What else we got? And on the Swiss franc, also the interest rate. Oh, look at this. Full page. Next week is going to be crazy. Yeah, for sure. And the interest rate on the Japanese economy. The time is always tentative on the Japanese data. I don't know why that is. But the big one we want to be watching for is the FOMC. And they don't even have the interest rate uh, forecast yet. None of the forecast data hasn't come out yet. That'll be probably over the weekend. We'll see the forecast. I'm pretty sure that they're going to hold the interest rate on the U.S. economy at 3.75. Very unlikely that they would make a change yet, even though I to see higher interest rates later this year, but we just have to wait and see. But I don't expect to see any lowering of interest rates, not with the way the situation is. Have I ever done options? I traded options 25 years ago, I think it was, and I lost the house. Not literally. It just was not my thing. It was not my cup of tea. And in fact, I just gave up trading for several years. It just was not for me. Puts and calls, all of that stuff. And back then, I had to trade with a U.S. broker. I had to wire transfer money over to a U.S. bank. It was really complicated. And the trading of options was very volatile, very complicated. And I was beginning trader back then, trying to understand the charts and all that stuff. Everything was very new, and I just lost a lot. And it didn't work out. Really, a key factor was because of the difference in the time zone. The New York market opening at very, very late in the evening, and then closing very early in the morning. If you have a day job, that doesn't work out very well. So yeah, I tipped my toe in options trading many, many years ago, and never looked at it again. Not interested. I came into forex and stayed with forex because it's 24 hours a day, 5 days a week, and it suits where I live, and that's why I've stayed with it for the last 11 or 12 years. I remember all that stuff though, puts and calls and triple witching Friday or something it was called. If you just joined in, let us know where you're watching from. That's always, I find it very interesting, people from all over the world tuning in. And let me know also if you have a trade open. We're watching gold on the 15-minute chart, and I'm here every day, Monday to Friday, watching the opening of the Asia market, the Singapore and Shanghai market specifically. That's this first candle here. Sometimes we can get some good moves up or down, but today, very little momentum. After this big drop we saw in the New York session, and then it started to come up a little bit, but now we're just kind of going sideways. Not kind of going sideways, we are going sideways. In fact, I go back over and look at my 5-minute chart, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 40 minutes, we've done nothing. And here we go, turning back down. Now getting some momentum a little bit. 8 minutes into this candle here. So for me, not yet a trade setup. I want to see a good momentum candle. And I'm not seeing anything like that yet. Just staying right where it is, 51.17, 51.18. Sometimes at the top of the hour, we get a good a good move. Yep, still no volume. Next 4 hours close in 20 minutes. Let me have a look at the 4-hour chart. Oh, the 4-hour is a big green candle. Hey, yeah, that's at the moment that's bullish engulfing, hey, on the 4-hour chart. We really are in a range trading. It's broken out a little bit above, a little bit below, but in pretty much a range since the 20s, uh, since the 3rd of March. Yeah, 2 weeks. 2 weeks we've really been in a range with an occasional breakout above and below on the 4-hour chart. Hmm. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sign out here. Not no action going on, no volume. It might pick up on the hour. Just have to wait and see. I've got a big day ahead. I've got some meetings today and got a lot on my calendar. So not much to comment on here. Thank you all for being here. Raj, good to see you again. And I'll see you guys next Monday, same time. That's 8 a.m. Indo-China time. And now I believe because of daylight savings, that's 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Still not used to that time change yet. But don't forget to click that like button. It does help the channel. And again, thanks for being here. Have a great day of trading wherever you are, and have a great weekend, Saturday and Sunday. And I'll see you again next week.